What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm your host, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
No Carrie this week. The men with the golden tongues go it alone in the video game sphere. Nothing new for us. Micah has been continuing to play Ghost of Tsushima.
I literally just got the platinum before I hopped on here.
So, okay, pause on that for a second. So, is all you have to do to get the platinum in Ghost of Tsushima turn on Ghost of Tsushima and start a game? Because I feel like that the platinum game percentage of Ghost of Tsushima, and I haven't looked at it. You know what? And while we're talking, I'll go to ps4trophies.com. I'm going to see what the gain rate is on that platinum trophy. I feel like it's a much higher percentage of people earning the platinum trophy and people who would never chase such a thing, like yourself, that are earning the trophy.
It is an incredibly easy platinum. It is one of those games where it's, if you play the game, you're going to get like 80% of the trophies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are a few that you got to think a little bit about, like you have to like cosplay as Sly Cooper. And it's weird, right? Like you have to do a little bit of digging. There are some trophies where you have to bow at certain altars, but as populated as the map is, they don't populate those. So you have to find those. But no, you can just play this game and get like 80% of the trophies, no problem.
And I guess the other 20% aren't that far out of your way to.
No, it's not. No, and there's no like difficulty achievements. Like the game is incredibly easy. I played it on normal. The game is incredibly easy especially once you like. It does a very good job of making you feel like a badass by the end of the game. With the way it drip feeds you all your different skills and abilities and things of that nature. I was getting abilities in like the latter half of the second act. And it does a good job. And then by the end of it, you're just like, I can do whatever. I'm Japanese Batman. And so yeah, it's a fun game. I literally did everything. Like once you get to platinum, the game is like, wow, you did it all. You did everything. Ain't nobody better than you.
So I'm on let's see here. I'm on psnprofiles.com, which shows, different trophy percentages and stuff like that. Apparently, the Living Legend trophy, the Platinum trophy, for Ghost of Tsushima has been obtained by, now see, is this percentages of their, no, okay, so that's percentages of PSN profile users. So it has a 3.1% gain rate, and that doesn't sound high, but for a platinum trophy it is high. Like most games, platinum trophies have like a 0.2% gain rate. So this is exceedingly high for a platinum trophy.
That's like saying 3% of the population of the US got a platinum trophy. That's the equivalency that you kind of need to go with here, because it people don't platinum things, like it's Amir, is Warren, and like maybe one other person, and then that's it. Those are the only people that platinum trophies.
Almost 14% of the people that have played the game have beaten the game. Like they've earned the gold trophy you get for beating it.
That seems kind of high to me too, man. Because most people don't beat games.
No. Now how many hours did you sink into this to get the platinum as well?
Oh man, when did this game
ballpark estimate? You don't have to give me the
maybe 20 hours, because I was doing a lot of playing while I was supposed to be working.
That seems exceedingly reasonable for a game that's of its size.
Yeah, it's not like Rockstar big, where it's like it's big for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
There's some busy work in it if you want to get the platinum, but it's I don't know if it's just because I'm high on the game,
mm-hmm.
because if this was another game and I had to run around chasing foxes and finding all these different things that populate the map, I probably wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of it is because I'm into like the motif. So that's one reason why I did it. And two, you know, it's an the last game I platinum was I got a platinum in because platinum is not a word. The last game I got a platinum in was Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the hell out of Spider-Man. So yeah.
My problem is the games that I always get the most into have some of the most unreasonable platinum trophies attached to it. Like there's always a couple that are just like, I'm not putting in the time.
You know what I hate? I hate difficulty platinums.
No
Like
one, not too many people do that anymore, I don't think, or at least not any of the mainstream games do that too much anymore.
Spider-Man did it, and I was kind of pissed, but they had a new game plus option, so it wasn't that bad. But like they do platinum, they do difficulty trophies, and it's always for games that like, oh, you got to play it on this level in order to unlock the hardest,
like
level.
the Uncharted series.
Man. Like, come on, man.
So I've just been continuing to play Super Mega Baseball 3. So I'm doing the franchise mode in that game, and I'm doing like 36 game seasons essentially. I'm already in my third season in the game. It's really fun. It's exceedingly, the gameplay again, it's exceedingly tight. You know, being able to adjust difficulty for specific aspects of the game. This is something that I think the show has done for a while, but in this one you can really like fine tune the difficulty for, like, you can make different batting difficulty, different pitching difficulty, different fielding, and so on and so forth. And then like, so, and the off season is very relaxed compared to most simulation sports games. Like, you don't sign players to like long-term contracts. Like everyone on, it's kind of like soccer in a way, which I think is one of the reasons I appreciate it. Everyone on your team is kind of working on a 1-year deal that they'll just extend in perpetuity until they decide to leave after the season's over. Or you might have guys that retire. And then every player, when they hit the free agent market, has like, this is the salary that I want. But the longer that they sit out on the market, their salary reliably ticks downwards. So then you play the game of like, you know, how low, the push your luck aspect of how low do I want this player that I'm eyeing to go before someone swoops in and potentially, you know, poaches them from me or takes them from me at some point, which I think is an interesting way to handle it. Yeah, it's a really good game. Again, if you enjoy baseball, but the show is just too much, and I get that because the show is a lot in terms of like mechanics and stuff like that, then you should definitely check out Super Mega Baseball.
I'm going to guess that you chose the Buzzards as your team.
No, I actually created my own team. It has a really simple like team creator in the game where like you literally like hit like make a new team, and it pre-populates like a randomized roster that's pretty well balanced in compared to the other teams in the league. They like, your team might specialize in certain aspects of the game more so than other players. And then you can like customize their logo, you can customize their uniforms. It's a simple but effective like graphic design program that they kind of have in the game to do this. And it's great because much like soccer, what I've done is I've taken to changing my team's uniform every season. Like I'm redesigning it and kind of rekitting it out every year. Just things fresh.
Hey, and to make more money.
Exactly. So like I said, I actually when I made my franchise, they let you can either do like the regular franchise or you can do a custom franchise where you can determine, you know, which teams you want in the league, how many teams, how many divisions you want to have, like you can customize every aspect of how the league is set up. And that's not a unique feature to this game. Like most sports games have some sort of like fantasy draft mode or, you know, custom franchise mode, that sort of thing. But this, again, like the big thing with this one is just accessibility, which is very nice. So again, very good game. Well worth $45 if it's something that you might be into, because there's a lot of replay value there for sure. Moving on from there, New releases this week. Really, so I didn't actually look at the new release schedule this week. The only one that I was aware of offhand was the surprise stealth bomb release of Cuphead on the PlayStation 4, which came out today.
Yeah, I thought that was a typo when you put it up there.
No, that was just an unannounced surprise that they released Cuphead on PS4. I guess Microsoft wants all the money for Cuphead, which is smart. Is smart. Microsoft. Well, we'll talk about Microsoft a lot later, but they don't seem like a company that's going to be gating a ton of exclusive games this next generation. But we'll see. You also get the Samurai Showdown Neo Geo Collection on PS4 and PS4 and Nintendo Switch this week as well. So those are really the only two new games that have come out. And then we did get the announcements for the PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Games with Gold for this month. PlayStation Plus, there's a game called Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, which is a 60-person online multiplayer party game, which doesn't look too impressive from the trailer. However, what is surprising is, again, another surprise release, and this is available now. You don't even have to wait for next week to get this. The Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered is available for free on the PlayStation 4. I guess they'll hit you for the multiplayer at some point down the road on this. So, like I said, you enjoyed the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 campaign, which I believe I enjoyed more than the Call of Duty Modern Warfare campaign, then you can download that for free if you have a PlayStation 4 and you're a PlayStation Plus member, and it's available during the entire month of August.
There you go.
Games with Gold, not to be outdone. Microsoft has announced that from August 1st to 31st on Xbox One, you can get Portal Knights for free. It's a game that's been out for a little while. It's a third-person action RPG. It's more of like a cartoonish art style associated with it. Override Mech City Brawl is available from August 16th to September 15th, which is a giant robot battle game from the description. And then for Xbox 360, MX Unleashed is available from the 1st to the 15th on Xbox One or 360. And then Red Faction 2 is available from the 16th through the 31st. Notably, Red Faction 2 has a remastered edition that's available for Xbox One. So that might be the better way to go. I don't know. But that game is very popular, Red Faction 2. It was kind of a hidden gem of the 360 PS3 era, unless I'm confusing it with something else.
I remember Faction. I remember the Red Faction series. Its gimmick, because it's a first-person shooter, so its gimmick.
Oh, you know what?
Environments.
I'm actually incorrect. Red Faction Guerrilla is the game that I'm thinking of. There was actually a Red Faction 2.
Yeah,
that I don't think was nearly as popular.
No, but Red Faction Guerrilla was like third person, I think. And
you
could it kept the destructible environment gimmick, but like in third person. And yeah, I remember Red Faction Guerrilla. I played the first Red Faction and Red Faction Guerrilla.
Well, now you can experience Red Faction 2 for free.
No. No, I don't think I'll be doing that. Check out youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe. Click the like, share, bell notification icon. Click the bell and then click it again to get like all of the stuff that we do, not just like the personalized list.
Can I tell you something? I'm feeling the bug. Again, I don't know how consistent I can make it, but I'm feeling the bug to start streaming again.
Uh-oh.
So we'll see. But I want to get a capture card because I don't just want to stream PS4 stuff. I want to start streaming stuff on my Switch.
There you go.
So we'll see. But yeah, something I'm thinking
if you stream on PlayStation and you play a multiplayer game, let me know, because that's the only way I'm going to do it.
It's true.
Because it's the only way I like playing games. I like playing games with my friends. I don't like playing games with random people. But go to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe. You can see Brad when he starts streaming. You can subscribe to all the TNP Studios podcasts wherever you get your podcasts, including the Nerdpocalypse, the flagship show, Black on Black Cinema, where we just reviewed a movie called Fatal Affair that will be releasing this week. And it is bad. It is as bad as you think it is, just going by the title. You know nothing about it, but you know that it's called Fatal Affair.
So
sounds bad.
Allow me to guess, just pontificating from the title of the film. I've never seen Fatal Affair. I was even unaware of its existence. I was surprised to hear that it starred a good black actor in Omar Epps, who I like, who I guess has fallen on harder times because now that House is over, he's got to get those acting gigs where he can get them. I would imagine that it's a really shitty, low budget take on like a Fatal Attraction type of movie.
Yes, with the gender swap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's not good. Look, Omar Epps, he's the best part of that movie. So subscribe to Black on Black Cinema and you'll hear our take. You also get the weekly preview episode of Look Forward, which Brad has been jumping on because we live in we live in some times.
We do.
Go to densepixels.com/premium, and for $5 a month, $50 a year, you get access to a premium slate of podcasts, including the airing of grievances. We will record some new episodes this week because Jay is off. No Time to Bleed, The Men with the Golden Tongues, which I promise you, we will schedule it very soon.
We're gonna figure out the date as soon as this podcast is over.
That is correct. Upstage Conversation, and the full episodes of the Look Forward Political Podcast. Politics is very interesting. It is wrapped up in everything that we do, and we as human beings, like, we are all affected by it. And
it might find its way into the first story of Dense Pixels this week. Just saying.
And you need Sherpas to guide you through all of the nonsense, and that is where Jay and Andy and Brad, because they go by the Freebird rule of any two of them can be on that show at any point in time.
Or sometimes all three if it's a 6-man tag. So
yeah, if it's a 6-man tag. So yeah, listen. It's one of my favorite shows, and it's not just because I know the people on it. If you're not into politics, this show is worth the $5 a month. It's every week, and this show alone is worth $5 a month. Everything else is a happy extra. So yeah, go to densepixels.com/premium.
So I was not aware of this. Did you know, Micah, that the U.S. Navy has an official Twitch channel?
I did not know that.
Well, now you do. And they were streaming the other day. They were playing Escape from Tarkov on the Twitch channel that belongs to the Navy. And someone asked in the chat why the Navy was streaming video games. And the answer that the player, who is machinist mate First Class Andrew Crosswhite, who goes by the handle Salty Snipe with a 1, says that we're here to show that we play video games literally. We're not here to recruit. That is not the point of this. However, there's a site called Motherboard that has obtained a handbook that's given out by the U.S. Navy, and it says, quote, everything done on social media should be aimed at making connections between prospects and recruiters. And there was a PDF uploaded that is literally the Navy handbook guide for Twitch streaming.
I mean, it says Navy Recruiting Command Twitch Guide for Streamers.
Yes.
It says recruiting. It's the second word.
Now, this comes on the heels of the Army coming under some scrutiny because they also have a Twitch channel. And in moderating some of the comments that were in the chat and deleting them and things of that nature, they might have violated the First Amendment because the government can't censor your speech. And that includes on private platforms like Twitch. So that's the thing that's happening. So the Navy emailed this website Motherboard, and they said, quote, while we do not actively recruit on Twitch or through such streaming platforms, the esports team members are there to answer questions about their experiences in the Navy. If a user specifically asks an esports team member about joining the Navy, that team member will move that conversation to a private message to first find out if the interested user is over 17. And if that user is over 17, then the recruiter will thank them for their interest and refer them to Navy.com, where they can talk to an actual Navy recruiter. The Navy's Twitch guide also has specific rules of engagement. That's from the Vice story that I'm reading from right now. It's very, very good, by the way. Very excellent writing. It tells the sailors not to engage with content that trashes another individual, celebrity, or brand, content that involves illegal activities, users that appear to be spam or bots, people trying to sell something, content that is highly political in nature or negative, etc., etc., etc. Like you said, there's a whole, like, there's literally like a Twitch tone. You know, they tell people to share your personal stories of your time in the Navy and confirm that you're speaking from your own experience, and utilize appropriate emotes, Micah, where and when it makes sense. Do not, however, use emotes that are altered or misrepresented, or tell other Navy stories and things of that nature as well. Now, look,
come on, man.
Let's be very clear. Far from the First Avenue that the United States military has ventured into to try to recruit and try to build out their ranks as much as possible. Technology changes with the times. The military is going to keep up with that as best they can, whether that's sending recruiters into schools or running ads on TV and targeted at specific demos and things of that nature. Like this is just a natural evolution of that.
Yeah,
I feel like, but don't be. I mean, you could call a spade a spade. Like, it's
right,
not,
man.
It's,
like,
you don't have to like fucking beat around the bush.
Yeah, I'm not mad that you're doing this. I'm mad that you're lying about it. It's a recruitment tool. I get it. It's kind of smart.
You got to meet. I mean, to recruit people, you got to meet them where they are. Like, that's literally, they're not going to come to you. Like, you have to go to them.
Right. So, but the fact that they're like, oh no, we're not recruiting. As he's thumbing through the Navy recruiting command Twitch guide for streamers. I mean, I get it. I get it. I think it's kind of, while I accept it, it's kind of, I don't know. I always found recruiters to be kind of is hanky, man, to me. Like, you should want to serve.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't be convinced to serve.
Bribed to serve, you mean?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Coerced, damn near conscripted. Yeah, you shouldn't be like, you shouldn't have to do that. You should want to serve. And if you don't want to, like, I don't know, man. It just feels like 2 steps away from a draft to me. And I don't appreciate it. But hey, I get it. You need people to fill out your ranks. I get it. Jack was a Navy man, and he works for the Navy now. He works for the government now. So
and the Navy is also getting caught up in this First Amendment stuff too. Apparently, they're banning trolls from their chat who are asking about like war crimes and shit like that. Which, I mean, come on, if you're gonna be streaming on Twitch, you have to know what's coming at you. Like, you can't not expect that to be flaring out. Come on.
Yeah, man. Don't think that all gamers are just like, a bunch of know nothing nerds who just sit in their basement and play.
Or just that you're not like, or just that you're gonna get trolls. Like, that's just how fucking online is.
Right. Like, it's adorable. Like, it's like, oh, hey, this is my first, time on the internet. Like, being on the internet and having to be like with government like restrictions on you, right? Like, because the internet is a wild west. It's a shit show, man.
Oh, Micah. So I scrolled to the bottom of this document to look at ideal games that the Navy recommends playing while you're streaming on the Navy Twitch channel. There's not a single title on here that you probably like. If I asked you to name 5 titles, you'd go 5 for 5.
Call of Duty,
yes,
right? Fortnite, because that's popular.
Yeah. That by the way, that's literally the only qualification. It's got to be popular. That's it.
Like Grand Theft Auto 5, right? Because that's popular.
Certainly.
Do people still play Overwatch? Because that's popular.
Yeah, there you go.
Yo, come on.
Give me one more.
I don't know. I would say Minecraft, but I feel
Minecraft is on the list. Yeah.
Yo, shut up.
It is, like I said, there's like 12 games listed here, 12 or 50 games. It's literally just like pick the most popular 12 games that exist in the world, and they're all on this list. They're all on this list. CS:GO is on here, League of Legends, World of Warcraft, Dota, Apex Legends, FIFA, Rainbow Six Siege, Hearthstone. It's all there.
Hey man, you gotta shoot. If you're shooting fish in a barrel, you might as well get a shotgun.
Look, you're not like you ain't recruiting Navy folks playing Ghost of Tsushima streaming.
Right.
That ain't fucking So yeah, there you go. Ubisoft, either in a way to possibly wave their keys across the room and say, "Look over here," away from all this stuff that's going on with us right now. Has announced that they're not going to be raising next-generation game prices for now. In a call with investors, Izguimo said that video games released during the Series X and PS5 launch windows will remain at $59.99. This will include Watch Dogs. This will include Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But they said that they might reevaluate down the road. I'm pretty sure as soon as they see the sales numbers for games like NBA 2K20 aren't going to be appreciably affected by the price hike, I'm sure they will be ready to drop games at $69.99 just as soon as humanly possible.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, you gotta. We're in the weird transition period. We're gonna be in the transition period for a minute, but the second that Ubisoft makes a game that is, ground up for this new hardware, well, it's super expensive. $69.99. That's and then it's gonna be the norm, and then we're all gonna complain, and then we're all gonna get used to someone's gonna bring up the fact that games used to cost more than that during the cartridge era, and then
that's someone it'll be me. It's me. Sorry,
right?
I'm that guy.
and we'll get used to it.
I remember back in 1996 paying $74.99 from Toys R Us for a copy of Super Mario 64.
Right, and that was 1996 money. Like, it's not like like a huge difference.
It's like $110 today or something.
Right. Yeah.
Or some crazy number. Yes, cartridges used to cost a shitload of money, everybody. At least they gave you the whole game. Yes, I know they didn't have DLC back on the N64 era. Spare us your pedantry with your nonsense talking about this shit. This is a little surprising to me, but I guess I shouldn't be, because this game literally came out at the absolute tail end of the console's heyday. Ghost of Tsushima is now the fastest selling PlayStation exclusive or PlayStation IP ever. They sold 2.4 million copies of Ghost of Tsushima in the first 3 days of its release. This eclipses the previous records of Infamous Second Son, which then got eclipsed by Horizon Zero Dawn, and I think it got eclipsed once more by something else, but I don't see in this article what it is. Of course, it is not still the fastest selling PS4 exclusive. I should have specified new IP. Fastest selling new IP. The fastest selling IP of all time is The Last of Us Part 2, which sold over 4 million copies in the first 3 days of its release. I think there was a game after Horizon that got it, but I don't remember what it was. Might have been Spider-Man. That would make sense. Or no, it was Days Gone. Days Gone beat out Horizon.
Really?
Yeah, weirdly enough. Yeah, I would be surprised about that as well. So
no, you shouldn't be surprised by this at all.
I'm only surprised because the game setting feels more niche than like a Horizon or even a Days Gone, for that matter. Like Days Gone's theme has a more broad appeal than feudal Japan. But I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. Like, a good game will sell regardless of what the theme is.
So here's my experience with, working at GameStop, being around my friends or the people that I used to hang out with. It doesn't surprise me that there are two general types of gamers, right? Like people who prefer, like the people who prefer the Microsoft systems and the people who prefer the Sony systems and the people who prefer the Nintendo systems. Like I can point them out to you. You know what I mean? And there are a lot of people who they prefer the Sony systems, and they all have a thing about them, and they appreciate this type of Japanese culture, and they wear Naruto headbands and they wear Afro samurai headbands, and so yeah, I'm not surprised. And people have been wanting something like this for a while, I feel, because that's
Well, I mean, how long have people been pining for Assassin's Creed Samurai?
Right. People have been bitching and moaning for an Assassin's Creed set in feudal Japan since the first game, and back in like 2007 or something like that, right?
The series has been around for 13 years.
It's wild.
It both feels like it's been that long and feels like it hasn't been that long simultaneously.
I think they're on, what is it, like what are there, 10 mainline games, 10 or 11 mainline games? I couldn't even tell you
at this point, honestly. And plus, like what's like is Liberation a mainline game? Like, I know we're not counting the Chronicles series, but would you say Liberation is a mainline Assassin's Creed? It plays like one.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
okay.
I would consider the Ezio trilogy mainline games, even though they started with Assassin's Creed 2, and then Brotherhood and Revelation, and then Assassin's Creed 3. And they realized, oh shit, like marketing wise, this doesn't make sense. Let's just drop the numbers. But I would consider it a mainline game just because it deals with one of the mainline characters, and it came out chronologically. You know what I mean?
Well, Liberation was the PSP one that came out.
Oh no!
That had the female assassin.
Oh, I don't consider that. I consider the main console, the main console games.
Gotcha.
Mainline games.
Is Rogue a mainline Assassin's Creed game? The bastard child of the Assassin's Creed series.
You know what? By my own logic, I have to say it is.
There you go. I still never. I've Rogue is the only one that I've never even like looked into.
Yeah, I haven't touched it. I've at least played all of the other ones. I haven't even the ones set in China and Russia and India, but all very interesting locales that deserve their own mainline game. But whatever, let's stay in Europe. But yeah, I haven't touched Rogue.
Surprising news. Speaking of going way back, so during the IGN Comic-Con at Home event, which I guess is the online replacement for SDCC this year, it was announced and a trailer was shown that G4 is coming back in some unknown capacity. The defunct cable network, which I think closed up shop in like 2012, like it's been gone for that long, is coming back in some way, shape, or form. How, we don't really know. They're just a teaser. Rumors that Blair Herter is involved in some way, shape, or form, which would make sense. He was on, X-Play later on, I think, and Attack of the Show, things of that nature. Yeah. G4 mainstays like Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb reacted to the news with shock and surprise. So I guess they're not involved with this rebooting of the network. Not that they would necessarily be jumping on board with that at this point in their careers. Yeah. Even Olivia Munn retweeted out the video that G4 put together. At last check, G4 was owned by NBC Universal, which is owned by Comcast. There's rumor and speculation or scuttlebutt as Mike would say, that it might return as part of the Peacock streaming service that NBC or that Comcast just rolled out recently. But we don't know. We don't know what it's going to be. We don't know what's going to entail.
It better not be a network, like a channel on television.
I think that would be a fucking terrible idea.
No, that would be quite the boondoggle.
I don't.
No, it
Like
needs
the
to
Quagmire.
be. It needs to be. It needs to be an online like network or something like that, because like the thing with G4 or Tech TV, or if you're really old like me, ZD TV.
I don't even know what ZD TV is.
Yeah,
Tech TV I do.
It used to be called ZD TV before Tech TV, and then Tech TV was like they had like news, like
yeah, they had like Leo Laporte was on there, and you know a couple other guys that are big in the tech space still.
Yeah, like it was like a real technology based television show or channel. You need it to be. Oh God, you need this to be. It didn't have, especially when it was G4. It didn't have content. It didn't have the amount of content. It was like Spike TV for tweens.
It literally, I mean, they literally reran aside from Attack of the Show and X-Play, which were easily and maybe Electric Playground earlier on, like which were the only reasons to watch the channel. They just ran like episodes of Cops and Cheaters.
Yeah,
that was basically about it. So you had that. So my question for you is, what possible role could a revamped, and modernized for the times G4 fulfill that your IGNs and GameSpots and Polygons and things of that nature can't fulfill or aren't fulfilling at this point?
Nothing. And that's the thing, right? The only thing that they could bring to the table is the name and personalities, because if you bring back some of those personalities, people will tune in for the nostalgia alone, right? And then you just have to pump out quality content. The problem is, I would imagine that most of the people who were involved with it have moved on to bigger and better things. And, you mentioned Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb. I don't know what they're doing right now. I got to imagine that they're not.
Adam Sessler is being mad at Republicans and extreme leftists on Twitter. That's what that's is being an old man sitting on his porch yelling at people to get off of his lawn, basically, which he fully subscribes to, by the way. Like, he fully admits that that's what he that's what he is right now.
I always loved Adam Sessler. He was I had a kinship with that guy. Like I remember when I went to San Francisco, I wanted to go to the Metreon because that's where he did X-Play in a hollowed out mall in San Francisco. And but I always respected that guy. I respected most of the people who were on that network. But yeah, I just don't. You're right. I don't know what new they could bring. Maybe they don't need to bring anything new. They need a big name. They need I know who Blair Herter is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think these other people know who Blair Herter is. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
They need a big name
in the games industry, right? So
yeah, to get people in. Like the name G4. Some people hate that name. Some people hated G4. So because of what it did to Tech TV. So and because of what it became, the Cheaters channel. So
let's at least hope that whatever content they do put out is worthy of getting a 4 or 5, at least.
I remember one incident on that show where every time they would review a Dragon Ball game, they would say Super Saiyan. And people got so mad, right?
You know what's funny is that they it probably happened by accident the first time. They saw the reaction and then they probably just kept doing it on purpose.
They kept doing it on purpose, and they said, "Look, I have a degree in rhetoric. If a word is spelled SAI, it is pronounced Psy." And they, and then they were like, "And if you don't like it, fuck you, Super Saiyan." and this game gets a 3 out of 5. I remember people were mad they gave 3s to everything. It's because most games are average, guys. Like,
right. Well, and also, again, it's the problem with game rating system is that none of them are balanced, because a 3 out of 5, if you equated it to like a 10-point scale, is a 6. And if a game gets a 6, it's a bad game. But a game that gets like a 3 stars out of 5 is not a bad game. It's a good game. Like more of what it would be like a 7.5, let's say, out of 10.
right.
On that other scale. So again, my left arm for a standardized review system in video games, please.
This is what you need. You need it can't be a number. You just got to read a review.
That's also
review.
fine. But if we're going to insist on using review aggregation websites, I need the industry to adopt a standard system across the board.
And the problem is, I remember EGM. Remember magazines, kids?
Of course. Yeah.
I remember EGM. They had a 10-point scale, but 5 meant average for them. And we all go to school, right? And school is based on a 10-point scale. 90 to 100 is A, 80 to 90 is B, and so forth and so on. If you got anything less than a 6, you failed.
Right.
And that's the mentality that people still have.
And again, to throw it out there, their main competition at the time, GamePro, also used a 10-point scale, but they used it on a 0 to 5 10-point scale. Yeah. So again, the equivalent would be like a 2.5, which doesn't sound as bad as a 5 out of 10 for some reason.
Right.
Again, standard system, please, at some point ever. The last news story of the week is apparently, and I'm not sure how, a massive leak of Nintendo data somehow got out of the company last week. Of course, it got posted on 4chan, which made people, scared to touch the fucking thing, which I don't blame you. But just a lot of crazy shit, like, and when I say source code, I'm saying like, the original designs for Yoshi, who look fucking weird in the original shots that you can see. It confirmed the Luigi rumor from Mario 64 that he was indeed supposed to be in the game at some point. It showed that there was a unannounced game called Super Mario World 5 Yoshi's Island that never saw the light of day, which I guess turned into what we now know as Yoshi's Island, which is technically Super Mario World 2. Apparently, Nintendo was not aware that the breach had happened for months. Like they just didn't know that the stuff leaked out at all. But yeah, so just a treasure trove of information for especially like older Nintendo games. It's there if you want to comb through it. Again, you have to venture into some dark corners of the internet if you want to check this stuff out, which I don't necessarily recommend.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
No, but even like Dylan Cuthbert, who was the lead developer, I think, for Star Fox 2, confirmed that the stuff that was being posted and screenshotted and stuff like that was authentic. So this isn't a bullshit leak. This is definitely stuff that's there. There's a big long story on Vice if you want to really get in deep to it. We're really just scraping the surface just to kind of report it, but just very interesting that one of the most closed off companies out there was able to not only let this slip, but just was completely unaware that it was taken from under their noses several months ago. So
Yoshi looking like a realistic raptor is disturbing.
Very much so. But at least we know the origin, I guess, for Yoshi.
There you go.
So that's it.
Go to densepixels.com/Amazon for all of your Amazon purchases. When you go to densepixels.com/Amazon, you get taken to Amazon storefront, and all the purchases that you make will go to helping us keep the lights on. You don't pay anything extra, and you help out the show. Go to densepixels.com/Amazon.
So last week, the big news, Microsoft had their first of what's supposedly, well, actually, I guess this is technically the second one that they did. The Xbox Series X Games Showcase, where they finally showed gameplay for some hotly anticipated games. They announced a lot of new games. The overall gist of this presentation for me was kind of twofold in some ways. The first one is they made Game Pass look like an excellent fucking value, which Game Pass is an excellent fucking value, for sure.
Yeah.
Undeniable to say that. The second part is Xbox One Series X has a bright future, but I don't know if it has a bright launch ahead of it. Because a lot of the stuff they showed, most of the stuff they showed is not coming out in what I would consider to be the launch window for the console. There's obviously one major game, which is Halo Infinite, which we'll talk about in 2 seconds. But a lot of the stuff that was just announcements, like they're just like, hey, we're working on this. Hey, you know, this is the first look at some of these games and stuff like Forza Motorsport. I don't think you're going to see that for potentially 18 months to 2 years away at this point, unless they're much further along than we know, which is possible, to be quite frank. What did you think overall about the presentation that they brought?
The Game Pass is the thing for me. Game Pass, and yeah, I might have to get Game Pass because there's a lot of, like, when I had it, I didn't. It's cool. I didn't use it. I tried it out because I wanted to play Gears, and I essentially played Gears for free because I canceled it. But it did have a lot of games that were on there. The problem is the games that I wanted to play, like the games that I wanted to invest my time in, I already owned. And look, that's, you know, my fault or whatever, but I already owned them. But it's always been a great deal, to the point where I'm like, how are they gonna sustain this? Like,
well, and here's the other problem too. So literally every game that was shown during this presentation is going to be on Game Pass, which means if you pay your $10 a month or your $15 if you have Game Pass Ultimate, then you will get access, unlimited access to these games start on day one to play to your heart's content. But you don't have to have an Xbox One Series X to play them. If you have a gaming PC, you can play them with Game Pass.
I don't think their approach to next gen, I don't think they're, you know, we all hear the stories about how, you know, at a console launch, company loses a bunch of money before, like, it's a couple of years before they recoup their money. I don't think they're worried about that. I think if they feel like they can get enough people to get Game Pass, then all of it will balance out.
Right. It's I feel like we talk about it every time we talk about Xbox on the show. It's just such a non-traditional approach to putting your games out. And to me, I still can't get away from the fact that it says one of two things. One of two, like the statement that you're making is one of two statements. And that's either we're leaving a shitload of money on the table for these games because they're like Halo Infinite, people are would pay $60 for Halo Infinite. Like that's like there's a lot of games that and Forza Motorsport, same thing. Like the new Fable, same thing. Like there's a lot of stuff that people would absolutely pop down their $60 or $70 for if you released it standalone. Instead, you are ostensibly giving it away. Like I know you're paying for Game Pass, but for all intents and purposes, they're giving the games away as part of the subscription service. Which then leads to point number 2. You don't think that those games are worth $60, or you don't think that the games people would pay $60 for some of these games, and that's probably true. It's not true of like a Halo, but it probably is true for some of the other under the radar titles, I think, that are coming.
Okay, I'm glad you qualified that because, like, one, you could still, if you want, like, okay, with Game Pass, is it like Netflix where they cycle games in and out That's my understanding.
They do, but the Microsoft exclusives, I think, stay on there in perpetuity. Like anything that's an Xbox exclusive will be on Game Pass now and forever. And then third-party titles get cycled in and out.
Whoa. Okay, I didn't know that with the. Okay, so I see your Halo point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just it's like Movie Pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like where Movie Pass is like, oh yeah, you could watch whatever you want for a whole flat fee, and then they were like, oh shit, we're losing money. now we gotta scale it back. Now you can't watch. You can only watch a certain amount of movies. Okay, well now you can't watch first run movies. Like this feels like a dream come true, right? To and you don't even have to spend $600 or whatever to get the new Xbox in order to use it. Like you could use it right now, and all of these games that you saw, like I feel like the rug is going to be pulled out from under us.
The skeptical part of your brain refuses to believe that the benevolence is real. Like you think there's a catch,
right? And I'm just look, take advantage, man. Take advantage while you can. Game Pass has always been a good deal. $15. I don't even include the $10 one. Get the $15 one. Right. What's an extra $5 a month?
Well, plus you need gold anyway. It's not like you don't need gold. So
right. Get the $15, and $15 a month is like what? 3 AAA games. 3, 4 $60 games, and you have the potential to play whatever. Like if I get a Series X at launch, because I'll end up getting one. If I get one at launch, I don't think I'll ever buy a game for it.
You don't need to.
Yeah,
they're giving them away.
Like I was gonna buy Gears, but when my subscription ran out, but I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to pay $60 for it when I can just pay this and not. My brain hurts, man. I can't believe it.
I get it. And like I said, if you want to play it again, they're remastering Gears 5 for Series X. Or not remastering, but just Series Xing it up, I suppose.
They're playing a different game, man.
Right.
And I'm very curious how it's going to work for them for the long run. I know how it's going to work for us, and I am more than okay with it. But
and that's the other thing too, is that this is, I feel like we're entering a different space than they were in, because when they first launched this initiative a couple of years ago, it was like a Hail Mary of sorts. Like Xbox One was getting the brakes beaten off of it by PlayStation 4 in terms of like units moved, and I'm sure their software sales were not very impressive either, comparatively to PS4 exclusives. So this was like a Hail Mary. This is a way to get people into Xbox to buy the system, to get in the Microsoft ecosystem, to pull them away from PlayStation as much as they possibly could. And even if you're just using it for exclusives, there's a lot of value there. But this is not a Hail Mary play. This is you're launching a new console. And again, you are wanting people to just give you $10 a month instead of buying the $60 games they want to buy. And while that, and the thing that I'm most curious about is I wonder how the share is given to the developers.
That's my thing.
But I guess since it's their studios, though, they have a lot more leeway. And again, Microsoft, like if Xbox One is a loss leader for them, they don't care. Microsoft has is worth $3 trillion. They couldn't give two shits. As long as Xbox isn't bleeding them dry, they probably don't even care about how in the black the Xbox brand is. So I don't know. There's very few companies that I think could do this. Microsoft is one of like 5 companies on the planet in the tech space that could afford to just write off this money that they could be earning. We'll see if it pays off. It's going to be very interesting to see 6 months in where console sales are for both PS4 and Xbox One. I'm not worried about PS4. I'm curious to see how Xbox One is going to do coming out of the gate. Let's talk about the games they showed off during this. They showed a pretty lengthy, like about a 10-minute demo of Halo Infinite. Now, I come to this discussion as someone who my total experience playing Halo consists of playing like the first campaign mission of Halo 2 and playing like a 1v1 match against a professional Halo player in Halo 2 and losing like 50-2. And I was happy that I got the 2 kills to begin with against him. That is literally the extent of my Halo gaming career. So I never paid much attention to the franchise. I was underwhelmed by the art direction shown in this Halo Infinite gameplay montage. And this is not just a trailer. This was direct from the game gameplay. Now I'm sure it's still in, alpha or beta or whatever stage the game is in right now. Is this always like, does Halo just look like this? Like, is this always how Halo has looked?
Yes.
Okay.
Like it looks like it's the most realistic cartoon you've ever seen. and it's always looked like this. That was one of the things that when the first Halo came out, you're a space marine, right? And in a space marine, you're used to being in space and on decks and everything is black and gray. And then you land on the Halo ring and all of a sudden you see this beautiful, lush green and blue environment, right? Like that's the thing. And that's what Halo Infinite is trying to mimic, right? It's trying to rekindle those feelings again.
Maybe I'm just conditioned by all of the other first-person shooters that exist, but I don't know. Like I feel like when you look at games like Destiny, or when you look at games like the newer Doom games and things of that nature, I just feel like the visual style is more complex, if that makes sense. Like it's much more detailed and looks more rich. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. It didn't blow me away.
Part of it is it's a bunch of human characters fighting like in an environment that is meant to, at least in this part, is meant to look somewhat like a place where humans would inhabit. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I'm fine with it. It looks like Halo to me, and sometimes that's what you want. It looks like Halo. It sounds like Halo. Like it really does a good job of invoking all of the feels that you get when you play a Halo game. But this time, as a possible live service game, I guess, which is why it's called Infinite.
We'll see.
And part of it is because this thing has to run on current gen hardware also.
Yes.
Right. So it's not going to be, it's not going to, it'll be like how Destiny was. Mm-hmm. When last generation to this generation, people were like, it looks the same. Like, no, it's the little things that you see.
Yes. So I'm sure Halo fans are very excited. I did watch a video that kind of gives the synopsis of the Halo like story. It's fine. Like, it seems kind of normal sci-fi fare to me. Like, I don't.
It's nothing. It's not the thing with Halo. It's all about story and it's all about characters, right? Because the story is very generic, right? But it's all about characters, and the way when you're not playing as Master Chief, for the most part, I don't give a damn. There are 2 games where you don't play as Master Chief, and ironically, I think they're the best Halo games. It's Halo, it's Halo ODST and Halo Reach, which is my favorite Halo Reach. It's a wonderful story with great characters, and then 343 took it over, and Halo 4 I didn't really care for, and Halo 5, why is Luke Cage in it? Who gives a shit? But it's all about characters, and eventually, like, you start the game, you start Halo, like way back in the day, Combat Evolved. You have this voice in your head. It's Cortana. She's your road dog, right? And throughout all these years, Cortana has become corrupted. It's like watching your best friend go down a dark path, and that's where the if you're not invested in that, it's just another Space Marine story, but it's just another Alien ripoff. But no, I will play this. Halo Reach was it for me, like in terms of story. Halo 4 and 5, I didn't really care for it. I hear that this is a good jumping on place to kind of get back into Halo.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very much looking forward to playing my little
All
Space
right.
Marine game.
They showed off a CG trailer for State of Decay 3, just to let you know that game will indeed be happening at some point. They also showed a Forza Motorsport trailer, which they say is made in engine. If there's if you ever want to launch a console and you want people to fawn over how good the graphics is on your new console, show them a racing game.
I appreciate the GameStop customer vernacular. How good the graphics is. Yeah, these never impress me. Because like you fawn over it and then you get the thing in your hands and it's like, oh yeah,
it still looks like every racing game. Oh, the track lighting looks better than it did
right.
the previous time, which is fine. Which is fine. There's a new game from Rare called Everwild, which they showed a new trailer for that also looks like it was using in-engine footage. A new game from Don't Nod coming out called Tell Me Why, which looks like every other Don't Nod game that currently exists, basically. It's a adventure, like choose your own adventure game with a supernatural flair to it. So that's coming out August 22nd.
See, this is the perfect type of game for Game Pass for me.
Correct.
Because I really enjoy Life is Strange, but I don't want to have to keep buying all of them and all that. Like, no, but if it's there, I'm gonna play it.
They're coming out with an update for Ori and the Will of the Wisps that is coming to Game Pass as well, and will be provided via smart delivery as well. So if you already bought Ori, then you're good to go on that. Outer Worlds announced their new DLC called Peril on Gorgon, which will take players to a new planet and give them new quests, weapons, armor, perks, and flaws. We would like the Outer Worlds very much on this podcast, and more Outer Worlds is, I'm sure, a very good thing. They made a Honey, I Shrunk the kids game called Grounded, which the trailer was shown. Apparently, that's going to be an early access starting as you're listening to this podcast. So you can sign up for that if you'd like to on Xbox One. Obsidian's newest RPG is called Avowed. It's a action RPG. It's first person. It looks very similar to like an Elder Scrolls style game, at least from this initial look. But again, it's a new Obsidian game. People are very excited. There's a new studio that was headed by the former lead designer at Quantic Dream called Interior Night. Their new game, As Dusk Falls, was shown off. If you are familiar with games from Quantic Dream, you know what this basically looks like, essentially.
Yep.
That is going to be there. They announced that Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is going to be taking place in Iceland. They showed a new trailer for Psychonauts. Destiny Beyond Light is coming to Xbox One Series X at 4K 60. No shit. They're also adding it to Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, you can play Destiny on Xbox One for free, including all the new expansions. Stalker 2 was revealed, which is a big deal because it used to be PC only, but now it's coming to Xbox. There's a new Warhammer game. New Tetris Effect is coming out. That'll also be on PlayStation, I do believe, as well this holiday. I feel like I'm just kind of going down the list. There's a new Phantasy Star Online 2 game that's coming out, which again will probably be cross-platform. And then they ended it with the announcement of a new Fable game, which Peter Molyneux has nothing to do with. So
that's the only reason I'm interested in
it. But again, this game probably is not going to come out for at least 2 years, most likely.
No, probably not.
So anything that really kind of got your dander up or really drew you in?
I mean, like that's the thing, right? Like I don't see a game, maybe 2 games on here I will pay $60 for, but this presentation has me interested in getting Game Pass since I can just get that and have access to these to play them at my leisure. So it's weird. It's weird, man. And
well, and again, like for you and I who don't really play on PC. Like I have a Mac. Your PC is not, up to snuff if you're trying to play AAA games on it. There's a compelling interest to get an Xbox Series X. If you are the guy that does have a high-end PC, and I guess they're really not trying to get you to. I mean, I guess that player has already gone down the path, right? They're going to play on PC. So I guess the thought process is, well, we might as well get you money in some way, shape, or form. Like if you're going to play on PC, we might as well get you somehow.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just don't know. But they keep saying like, oh, these games play best on Xbox Series X. No, they don't. They play best on PC because PC you can take beyond the hardware specifications of an Xbox Series X.
But what you just said, we're gonna get your money somehow.
Right.
That's their play. That's their play this generation is we want your money no matter how. No, look, you can play whatever you want as long as you're giving us $15 a month. We don't care. And look, I'm very interested to see, like, hopefully with this whole console war shit will kind of subside a bit, because it's for Microsoft, it's not about moving units.
Mm-hmm.
And Sony is doing the traditional thing, and Nintendo's always done their own thing. So I feel like now these three companies are the furthest they are from direct competition with one another in a weird way. And I don't know, man. This is a weird, exciting time. I wish I wasn't 40 goddamn years old before it happened.
You know what? We're at an advantage in that because we've gotten to experience to be frank, and y'all out there can disagree if you want to. Mine and Micah's and Terrence's generation, arguably for video games, is the best generation because we started pretty much on the NES, and we've gotten to see. We didn't have to deal with the bullshit of like the Atari era, and we've gotten to pretty much live the proper evolution of video games and experience pretty much high after high. It hasn't really taken a step back since the NES started. It's only been getting better as time goes along.
Yeah, it's wild to think about, back in 1985 when I got my NES, and it had 2 games with it, and just the evolution of those games of look at the evolution of just Mario period,
right?
Let alone gaming in general. And I can remember all of that, whereas you young punks started with your PS2s. What the fuck? Get out of here.
Well, and plus, we were also old enough to have truly experienced the arcade era in some way, shape, or form. We were here for the birth and death of the handheld industry. We got to see that whole life cycle perpetuate itself. We were here for the kind of the beginning of the online services age, which began way back on the Dreamcast back in 2000. Way back in the day, a system truly ahead of its time. Don't apologize for being 40 goddamn years old. You got to see the best the video game has to offer, and you'll continue to, as long as you're walking around on this rock.
I feel like my dad, who he used to read Dick Tracy comic strips, and Dick Tracy would have his little watch that was like a receiver in it.
No, that's a great comparison. Your parent, but also your comics. Your parents. I don't think your dad still keeps up with modern comics, but he would have gotten to see quite the evolution. In the comic space if he was
it's wild, man. It's wild.
The people that I'm jealous of from an entertainment standpoint, if you were born, I want to say, let's say if you were born in the 50s, you arguably got to see live through the greatest arc of the evolution of movies, I would say. From the 50s on through the 90s, and I think the 90s in many ways is where movies kind of peaked. And now we're seeing improvements in the technology of film, but in terms of the ability to tell stories and cinematography and stuff like that. I think that the 90s is where the greatest leap stopped, and then it's been more incremental over time. I'm sure people yell at me and tell me I'm wrong, but that's fine. That's how I feel about it. We go to the post office. There's a lot of questions in the post office this week, including Anthony just monopolizing the post office. We'll blow through his stuff. Roderick asks, what games are you waiting to buy on the next generation consoles? He said he's not buying anything new till the PS5 drops. I feel like that the existence of smart delivery kind of negates the need to hold off.
Yeah. When I pre-ordered Cyberpunk, they were like, hey, if you buy this, you'll get it on the next gen console when it's available. So at no extra charge. So I do not have the patience that you do, Roderick. I need to play Cyberpunk the moment it is available. So yeah, I'm not waiting on anything.
So Anthony asks a cavalcade of questions. We're going to lightning round Anthony's questions. We're not going to answer all of them. We're going to pick and choose. First, what game did you really want a new game plus option for?
Any game that's not 20 hours long.
For me, I hate New Game Plus. So I don't usually play games twice, so I don't care about a New Game Plus option. What game difficulty level do you normally choose and why?
Whatever is default.
Same, because I'm not trying to get my ass kicked. I'm trying to enjoy myself.
Right. If this is how it's meant to be played, this is where I'm going to play it. Very rarely do I do difficulty things the last time I did it, Spider-Man. Like, I really enjoyed it. And that game had a New Game Plus. So
if money were no object, which arcade cabinet would you want for your home?
I don't know, because I hate playing on sticks. I really do.
I kind of have it behind me. Like the NBA Jam one is kind of the best for me personally. It's the one I play the most, that's for sure. Let's see here. Key specs to pay attention to if buying a TV for gaming. Refresh rate.
Yes.
Refresh rate over resolution, honestly.
I remember when I got my my 3D TV. I didn't get it for the 3D. I got it because it was a 240 hertz refresh rate.
Yep.
And people were like, "Yo, whoa, what is wrong with what your TV is amazing." Like, yeah, refresh rate.
Right. And also don't buy a 4K TV unless it has UHD, which I don't really think there are any new ones on the market that don't at this point, but UHD is much better is much more important than 4K is. Let's see here. What city would you like the next Fallout game to be based in? I kind of wish Carrie was here for this question.
They all look the same to me.
They do. I think LA could be interesting just from the architecture standpoint.
Maybe I would need something that has I would need something that's not landlocked, something with a lot of water.
There you go. Let's see here. Same question for GTA. London, like a proper London game. I think for me,
London, Paris.
Paris is better actually. I will change my answer.
Yeah, Paris has some wild the city planner in Paris is just like circles. Woo! Like it's just circles all over the place, man. Paris is a fun, a weirdly laid out town that I think would be very fun for a GTA game.
And finally, when it comes to racing games, do you like arcade or sim?
Arcade. Get that sim shit out of my face.
Same with me. Let's see here. Cam says, my new TV was delivered today. He talked about this last week, and he's firing up Ghost of Tsushima tomorrow. Have you guys ever contemplated and or followed through on purchasing a new TV because of how good a game looked and you wanted to do it justice?
I purchased a TV. I purchased said 3D TV after my fiance broke up with me, and typically when a black woman is dumped or gets out of a relationship, they cut all their hair off and they start brand new. Like that's the stereotype, right? They do the big chop, cut that man out of your hair, and start living their best life, right? The male equivalent, because I don't have hair to chop off, is I buy something expensive that I don't need. and that was that TV right there.
I have done this twice. When I got a PS4 Pro, I didn't buy a new TV right away. When I got Horizon Zero Dawn, I did, because I wanted to see that game in all of its potential glory. And then when I bought my monitor up here, it was for I think the Destiny patch came out to make it run in 4K HDR. So I'm like, cool, now we got to do this. So let's see. Malcolm says, so Brad doesn't like samurai and sword fights, but I'm the hater. It just doesn't do anything for me. That's all. Which platform do you find easier to navigate on in regards to streaming, Twitch or YouTube? So this is a very interesting question. And Twitch is very bad at UI in terms of navigating for content, but it's very good at bringing the content that you generally follow up to the surface for you to find. Whereas YouTube is much more intuitive to navigate because we're all used to using YouTube. Like, we've all been doing it for a decade plus now. But they're very bad at promoting gaming content. They're terrible at it.
Yeah.
It's awful. So it's kind of like they both have their pluses and minuses. I think Twitch is a better platform for game streaming, but that's also literally Twitch's purpose of existence, is to stream video games.
Yeah.
Whereas YouTube has a lot of pokers in the fire. Leonardo asks, have you gotten obsessed with something during quarantine? He's been watching lots of videos with like Gundam models. He's already ordered 2. He's already built 1.
And he screams for help. I can't help you because this is what I've been obsessed with: taking pictures of toys and buying toys. I have way too many of these things. I just got Carrie's wife in today. And I've been looking forward to it for a while. So I take pictures of toys. That is my obsession during the quarantine.
I have been reading more. Wouldn't say I've been doing it obsessively, but I've found time to read more books, which is something that I've always meant to do and just never seem to find time to do it. But now I've done much better. Unfortunately, the watch content has kind of fallen off. So with the new job, like I used to take my day off during the week and do my video every week that I'd film it and edit it and do all the whole 9, because it was like a 4 to 6 hour production all told. And now that I have my weekends where I can see my family for the first time in my professional career, essentially, I just haven't had the time to do that. The podcast are a little bit easier from a time standpoint, but I've kind of not abandoned the Watch YouTube channel, but I definitely haven't put out any videos in the last several months, which is both sad and, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, but that is it. And then lastly, Johnny says, after all these recent directs and streams, do you miss E3?
No, not at all. Because I remember like gathering around at noon or whatever for the Microsoft presser, and then gathering at 9 for the Sony one. And there's a certain like communal experience with that, like going to the movies with other people.
That's what I miss. Like I like, it's not the same, and we haven't really done any of like live chats during these like direct streams or anything like that, mostly because they're happening in the middle of the fucking day and we have jobs and we work, but also because it just doesn't feel the same.
Yeah.
There is part of me that does miss it, because I used to always take off during E3 week, or at least like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that week, and I don't know, there's it's almost kind of like a sport, absorbing like the fire hose of information, keeping up with it, and taking the notes. It's kind of like watching the Olympics in a lot of ways, like where you're like trying to, like, all right, I can't watch everything, but what stuff do I really want to see the most? And like you make time for that and sort of thing. But you just kind of get caught up in the zeitgeist of everything that's going on. I do miss that aspect of it.
But I know what you mean, but from a convenience standpoint, like the convenience is outweighing the communal aspect of it, because like I would only want to, the only time I had really good the only instances where I had a really good time doing it is when I'm chatting with you guys. Like if I got Messenger open and something is going on and we're watching it and we're going back and forth, you know what I mean? That's fun. But you know, I don't know. I'm digging these little, like, but my only problem is that they're all over the place, right? Like, oh, Cyberpunk's having one, Avengers is having one, Microsoft is having one, Sony's having one, Nintendo's having one. And it's hard for me to keep up with all of the, like, I miss the aspect of, hey, we're all doing it right here.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I can literally go and just look at them whenever I want to look at them. So
yeah, I didn't watch the Xbox thing until Sunday when I was like, oh yeah, like I need to watch that for the show this week. So, but yeah, so like I said, it's I agree with Micah. Mostly not. There's definitely some aspects where I do, though, for sure. That is it for us this week. Don't forget, if you too want to submit a question in the fan group, go to densepixels.com/fans on Facebook. Make sure you subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you do all the other Nerdpocalypse shows as well. Go to youtube.com/densepixels. Subscribe there as well. And on Twitch, you can follow Terrence at Apparition410. Follow Carrie at SuppetsCarrie. And like I said, I might get the gumption to dust off the old Twitch account as well, at DensePixelsBrad. And then if anything's worth posting on YouTube that I stream, I'll download it and post it over on YouTube as well after the stream has been done. So we'll see what happens with that. This is also going to require me having to teach myself OBS again, which I'm not looking forward to. But I fucking hate OBS. Why has no one made like a very easy, intuitive streaming client yet?
Well, be too much like right, man.
I'm saying. It's $1 million idea. I think Twitch is actually working on something themselves, but I think it's in like beta. Maybe I'll research it. We'll see. That's it for us this week. Thank you guys very much for watching and listening. We'll see you all the next week. See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.